Okay, good afternoon and good evening, good night to some people. And I'm sure there's some people who were sleeping at this time, but welcome to Freedom from Nigeria. This is the place where we bring together a group of concerned Nigerians and non-Nigerians. And we gather all the information about what's going on around in Nigeria so that you can have a better view about what's actually going on. We have information overload. And we have a media that goes from one thing to the other. But here, we gather up all that information and we make sense of it. So it is clear what's going on. So today, we have an exciting topic. The elections are hitting up. We have the Obidients, who are very excited about a South and a North combination. We've got Atiku, who are they are literally raising bishops from the Motor Park. And then we've got, that's Tinibu and Atiku. They're trying to stay low at this time when a lot of discussions are coming up about, stealing from Nigeria, or they say looting from Nigeria, and so on and so forth. And, Tinibu has his own issues around, the drug, whatever that is. But there's a lot of excitement around elections. But do you know what's actually going on behind the scenes? Do you know that behind the guise of the 2023 election, that the Fulanization agenda continues to strike? Yes, it is. And it is time that we understand that while we are trying to make things work using the election cycle, which Ninasa says we should not go to because it only renews that fraudulent constitution. But while we are focusing on that election, there are lots of things going on to finalize the Fulani conquest. And it's important for our people to understand what Buhari is up to under cover of the 2023 election. So we've got a couple of people here that are going to be joining us to talk about what's going on. But I'm going to share my screen so that we can see exactly what we are talking about and what we are going to be focusing on today. So if we start here with our introduction, election fever is on, but do you know what Buhari is focused on? Happens to be Ruga, the Water Resources Bill, State Indigence Amendment. That's a secret conversation that's going on even as we speak. And all of that wrapped up, the Fulanization Agenda. And we'll be talking about the fact that Ruga is completely a Fulanization agenda. And we'll watch that video again from Bala Mohammed, where he lays it out quite clearly. But at the bottom left over here, we will see the information where the federal government in May wants to establish 119 ranches. Wait, isn't that Ruga? Didn't the National Assembly reject Ruga? Why are we having 119 ranches in the Middle Belt? And Southeast and South and Southwest, don't you for 1 minute think that that's not coming to you, because it is. And then we've got that evil Water Resources Bill. Wait, wasn't that defeated not too long ago? Why is it back now under the election cycle? Well, Governor Adam has come out strongly against that because he says that the federal government isn't going to take over the land in Benue and would definitely not be taking up their waterways, including their boreholes. That's amazing what this bill is trying to do. And then obviously we've talked about the fact that there is a Fulanization agenda that is going on, and we'll look into the statement that was made by Amado Bello as to what their agenda really is. And then we talked about the ongoing secret constitutional amendment. And the example given here is kind of frightening, because let's say you're not in your village and one of these foreigners come into your village and camp out at your father's house and stays there for 5 years. And all of a sudden, he's an indigent and your land now belongs to him. Excuse me. That is what we're talking about, people. And then we've got the other one that's been going on little by little, but now is really surging. We're talking about Boko Haram, repentant Boko Haram. It's amazing how the government goes out to on these airstrikes to strike Boko Haram, but every single time they miss and strike indigents. Not once have they struck Boko Haram yet. That is incredulous. And when we look at what has happened recently, where Zulum announced that there was going to be 35,000, and this is just one state in the north, 35,000. Wait, isn't this number big enough for an army? 35,000 repentant Boko Haram. Where were they hiding all this time that the government could not find 35,000 Boko Haram? Oh, wait, I forgot. Sheikh Gami told us that the federal government actually knows where they are. So guys, under the cover of 2023 election, under the excitement of the Labour Party, the excitement of the Atiku group, the excitement of the Tinibu group, and all the controversy that is going on, we must stay vigilant. We must stay focused on freedom. Gaining the presidency and losing your country, losing your future, losing your heritage is not the way that we want to go. So I am going to stop sharing for a moment and get some comments from folks. Balade, what do you think? Just your general opinion before we go into what do you think about the fact that there's a water resources bill that wants to take the borehole behind your house?
Okay, yeah, right, yeah, this is it. Funnily enough, a couple of days ago, I now read all the stuff that's on the exclusive list and on the executive list, whatever that means. And I found out that everything that you need to do humanly wise is on the exclusive list. So yes, basically,
it's all exclusive.
So basically, you can't do anything. Yes. So they now want to put the water.
And we're talking about the federal government. Yes. We're talking about the federal government taking everything.
It still comes down to that Fulanization. They're going to put it and give it to these Fulanis or let them do anything what they want, and everybody else, you can't do it. And then actually they now want people, if you want to survive, you got to convert to Islam. Did I tell you something?
Drink water, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that would
there was a gentleman, he's called Critical Media. In his video, he was showing that down in the east, they have now got Qurans translated into Igbo. Right. So Fulanization continues. Whether you want it or not, they are going to do it, and they're not slowing down. They are accelerating this process. So whether you say, oh, we don't want Islamization, we don't want the Sharia, it's coming to your doorstep as we speak. And if you don't do anything to stop it, they're already over your heads anyway. They're just saying the final push to say, right, Nigeria is now Fulanization, and it's a Fulani territory. Everybody, if you don't like it, we're ready to kill anyway, which they're doing as we speak.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what's going on under the guise of the 2023 elections. Stephen, are you at a place where you can make a comment? And Ruby, if you have a comment, just raise your hand so I can see you. Stephen, do you have a comment about what we're talking about? About the fact that under the guise of this election, we've got the water resources bill, and we're going to talk about what that means. We've got the secret hearings about the state indigent amendment, which is absolutely dangerous. And then we have not heard enough about it going out there. We've got the Boko Haram being integrated into Nigeria, and even Buhari got the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres to endorse the integration of these foreign terrorists Because we know that Buhari has told us that those carrying weapons are from Mauritania, they're Fulani from Central African Republic, they're not Nigerians, they're Fulani from around Africa. But they are bringing them in on the Ruga, which we'll hear shortly what Bala Mohammed has to say about that. But Stephen, what are your comments about what we're talking about, getting our people to understand what's actually going on and what they must pay attention to?
Thank you, ma'am. I need our audience to understand that the election, or better yet, selection process that's coming into place is not a democratic process, actually. In reality, it is another step in the finalization of the Fulanization agenda. The selection process is being put into place to put into place another Fulani person that will actually do the mop-up on what the current administration of Muhammad Buhari has accomplished. So any jubilation about the location called Nigeria engaging in the democratic process is a facade that we need to see through. Along with that, going along with that is the Ruga and the waterway bill. We can see that as many times as this bill has been put into place, even against the backdrop of the so-called election that I know is selection, we see the president of all the things that are of national priority to the citizenry. It's the water bill and the Ruga. I understood from somebody that Ruga is actually a Fulani word that means conquer.
Yeah, it's actually pronounced Ruga, which is colonization.
Right. One second, a call coming that I need to receive.
Okay, you're upside down. But I wanted to talk, let me just piggyback on something that Stephen has said before he moves on. When he talks about the fact that this election is not democratic, guys, you need to understand that Nigeria is not democratic. We, the people, do not have the opportunity to actually select who we want. There is a process in place to select them for you. And then there's another process where you supposedly are voting for who you want. But when you have the Fulani that are controlling the government, they are controlling the census, they are controlling INEC, which is the body that administers the census. They have their people in the north that are filling out the forms. They've got 8-year-olds, 12-year-olds with PVCs. They've got people from outside of Nigeria with PVC, but not diaspora Nigerians, right? Even though we are Nigerians, and even in America, where the folks who are outside of the country can vote, but not in Nigeria, because then they are afraid that they would not be able to control what actually happened. So in every way that you look at it, what Stephen is saying is incredibly important, because first of all, it's not democratic, but more importantly, as NINAS, which is the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, will tell you, there's nothing that will change if you have a new president, because the Constitution is written in such a way, and by the way, that Constitution is Military Decree 24. It's written in such a way that no president can emerge from the South, first of all, from the Middle Belt to the South. And secondly, if they do emerge, their hands are tied. They can't do anything. So let's just be clear on that. Go ahead, Stephen.
Thank you. So the re-emergence of the Ruga and Waterway Bill is just a confirmation that the Fulanization agenda is up and running and very well underway to completion. The whole idea is to take what is left on the so-called, if I'm correct, list, on the so-called concurrent list, which takes powers from the state and hands it over to the federal government, which essentially means, contrary to what people are saying, that we are not conquered yet, I think it's a psychological denial of the reality to lessen the pain that we already conquered. So that waterway bill is another, actually the final step.
Absolutely.
Because once they take that, it's so amazing that God did not create Nigeria. When God created the alliance states, it gave them natural borders.
Absolutely.
The River Niger, the River Benue, and the conjunction, I don't know what they call it now, that flows into Atlantic Ocean. The spirit of the waterway bill is to actually take off the waterways so that the unitary government takes unfettered access to the Atlantic Ocean to fulfill
dip the Quran into the
agenda,
yes.
to go deep his Quran into the Atlantic Ocean, along with other rivers in both the southwest and southeast that are the mainstay, the natural irrigation for the development of the agricultural sector, and of course to continue the Ruga, which allows the Fulani to move around with impunity over the properties. Because right now, even speaking from experience, a lot of my father's farms are along one of the biggest rivers in Ogun State, north. So when if he takes over, then of course the Fulani cows that when I was growing up, they came and begged my dad for accidentally straying into the farm.
Right.
They will come into the farm now and tread over whatever and eat it up, no questions asked.
I do believe that the farm will be lost, in fact, because all the land that is around there is
absolutely yes. The Fulani is not mixing words on his intentions, because not only is he asking for Ruga and the waterway bill, is asking for about 7-mile federalized
exactly on either side,
on either bank of the river.
Yes.
So what it does is just reduces the state government into nothing but a rubber stamp ahead. So no one.
Not even that, right? Because now they are all completely logjam and everything. I mean, everyone has been talking about restructuring, which is not what we're talking about. We're talking about ending the Constitution and doing a referendum. But restructuring on the basis of it was to decentralize. But with the water resources bill, with the state indigent bill, all these things are meant to centralize and really choke the indigenous people of Nigeria to accept whatever it is that the Fulanis are dishing out. And I'm going to, remind everybody again at this point, the Fulani are not Nigerians. They are not ancestral indigenous Nigerians. Indigenous Nigerians came to the area before Christ. They came to the area BC. The Fulani arrived in Nigeria late 18th century. That's just yesterday, folks. That's just yesterday. And now when you look at who is ruling Nigeria, how long that Nigeria has been ruled, you will find that the Fulanis have been ruling the indigents for an inordinate amount of time. And now they're bringing in all their people. So I'm going to thank you very much, Stephen. That was very well done. And thank you, Bolade, as well, for bringing up that 68 item and the 30 item exclusive, semi-exclusive list that pretty much shows that everything has been centralized. And the Federation, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is a farce. It's 419. It's fake news, because there are no nations in Nigeria. Those nations have been hijacked. And those nations were previously the Eastern region, the Midwestern region, the Southwest region, and the Northern region, with the middle belt was supposed to be carved out of the Northern region because they are North. They are not Northerners. They're middle belters. So Nigeria, as we know it today, is 419. It's fake, it's fraudulent. There's no basis for a federal republic because there are no nations. And that's just the basic requirement to be a federation. So I'm going to ask Ruby if he has any comments before we go into detail, because I do want to play that Bala Mohammed 2019 video again. And then we'll talk about the fact that even though that was defeated in the National Assembly, I'm talking about Ruga, which is colonization, the federal government in 2022, May 2022, announced that they're going to be building 119 ranches on the land of people that have been displaced by these Fulanis who were criminals. Yes, they are criminals. I am saying the fact. They don't have any legal rights to the land. They're killing people who have legal rights to the land. They have deeds to the land. They have ancestral claims to the land. So these are criminals and terrorists. And let us say this again. Anyone that reports that Nigeria has herder-farmer conflict, or Ghana, or any of the other African countries where the Fulani are a menace and trying to take over, is complicit. Because how can you stand with terrorists and criminals against rightful landowners? So herder-farmer narrative, anywhere that is found, that's complicity. So Ruby, I don't know if you have anything to say before I play the Bala Mohammed video as we talk about Ruga, because that is really powerful evidence about what we're talking about. Ruby, okay, I take it that you are fine. Okay, so the first thing that we'll talk about here under our topic, under the cover of elections, Fulanization continues to strike. And this is a call to our people to focus on freedom. Yes, play around with the elections, but know that that's not going to solve our problems. We need to focus on freedom, focus on ending the 1999 Constitution, focus on taking back our land from foreigners who are invading our land. As we have seen buses of this foreign Fulani headed to the southwest, where they were intercepted, but there were countless buses of them going in there. We saw that happening when there was a lockdown for COVID. They were coming in through the forest. They were trying to evade all the boundaries between states. They were hidden in Dangote trucks. They were hidden in trucks that were supposedly bringing cattle. They were cattle, but they hit all these kids, hit all these young men. They were just invading the area. We've got all the information from the, from those borders about what's going on. So right now, I am going to go ahead and share that video of Bala Mohammed talking about Ruga, and he called it pasteurization. But then when you listen to what he has to say, he talks about bringing all Fulani into Nigeria. He talks about that all Fulani around Africa are citizens of Nigeria, which is a bold-faced lie. And he talks about giving them free land, free ranches, and we've seen the jobs that have been given to them. And even recently, when we talk about the Fulanization agenda, we'll talk about that terrorist that just got turbaned. This is a terrorist that the federal government of Nigeria is looking for, and he gets turbaned as a Seriki. This is what we're talking about. So let's take a look and see what Bala Mohammed is talking about here. So I'm going to share my screen so that we want everyone to listen carefully to what he has to say, because you will find out that there's nothing about pasteurization and everything about colonization in his speech. So let me start this from the
driven, and will bring those who are more familiar.
Your state, you're not one of the pilots.
No, we are not one of the pilots, but having seen that we are in that part of the savannah, Nigeria, and of course we have most of the pastoralists in our state, we indicated our intention or our interest in the program because we believe some of the mistrust and suspicion surrounding the very nice program will be assuaged, and of course we will participate in a manner that will bring the best in terms of global best practice. We are engaging the Netherlands and other countries to come and help us do this in a manner that at least it will boost our economy. We have so many reserve land, and we have so many forests that are not being used. Some of them are even being used by criminals, hooligans, and charlatans, where some aspect of criminality has been provided by that forest that is called Lamembora Forest and the Yankari precincts. So outside the agitation or advocacy of the environmentalists and those that are more concerned with fauna and flora, we'll be able to provide a salutary effect to the country because we have over 3,000 square kilometers of land that is in the savannah in a lush vegetation that can be used for this kind of program, even to serve the nation.
lush
And while we are doing
vegetation.
it, as the federal government has conceived it, we want it to be private sector driven, and we'll bring those who are more familiar with it.
Okay, if you say, because I mean, everybody, we want to see that these killings end and there's peace and then people go about their businesses peacefully. Everybody wants to see that. But when you say that you want it to be private sector led, we understand that the government is going to provide 80% of funding, the state to provide 20% and then provide the land.
Yeah.
How is that going to be private sector led?
The government have not released any cover for that purpose.
Evading the question.
No, since we have not been admitted into the program. But certainly we have been working very hard to see that because our people are mostly transhumans, and that we have this vision to create an economic nucleus around livestock, and of course all the value chain that we can get around livestock, the blood, the horn, the skin. And of course, we will try more cultivate that culture in our people, while at the same time bringing the Fulanis in one fold and try to arrest their traditional.
Okay, I'm just going to point this out to everyone, what he just said. This is what we're talking about, the invasion. They want to bring all the Fulani in one fold into Nigeria. Bring all Fulani. What does that have to do with pasteurization? Nothing. We're talking here pretty much about colonization, Fulanization. That's what he said, right? So I just want to point that out as we go along for things that people to pay attention to what's actually being said.
Practice of moving from one place to the other. And that is very big and uphill task. But I think we can communicate with them more, because to them, they don't have borders from Cameroon to Nigeria.
But that's the thing, Excellency. How do we ensure that those who will be participating in this federal government largely funded program will be Nigerians?
In terms of the funding?
No, in terms of
the operations.
This is to bring in Fulanis together.
We see the issue of misconception. I see there is a lot of mistrust and misconception with regards to the Fulani man. The Fulani man is a global or an African person. He moves from the Gambia, from Senegal, and his nationality is just a Fulani man. And as a person, I may have my relations with the Cameroon, but they are also Fulani. I have relations from the maternal side, and that is why we want to give people. A Fulani man sees himself as a Bayelsan, as somebody coming from the Niger Delta, because he speaks the Niger Delta language, which you and I don't. And of course, we would have to just take this as part of our own heritage, something that is African, and that we cannot just close the border and say the Fulani man is just a Nigerian or this. No. In most cases, the crises are precipitated by those outside Nigeria.
I'm going to pause this here because there's a lot of malarkey that's going on here. a lot of malarkey, and I'm going to invite Stephen and Bolade. You guys need to help me with this one. He is telling us that the Fulani man transcends all immigration laws in any country in Africa, and especially Nigeria, since that's where they're trying to bring them in. You know, he'll get to where he calls them all citizens. But he is saying that the Fulani can claim citizenship anywhere in Africa. No one can stop them. This is what Bala Mohammed is saying. I'm paraphrasing, but you heard it yourself. Because he can speak the language, he can consider himself from Niger Delta. He can consider himself from Imo. He can consider himself from Benue because he speaks the language. Well, guess what? There's a lot of people in Nigeria that can speak English. Will they be citizens of the UK, of Great Britain? What about those that are speaking German, that learn German in Nigeria? Are they German citizens? What about all the, so do we, why is it, and this is a question I'm going to ask and I'll let somebody else speak. Why is it only the Fulani that we are gathering into Nigeria and giving them free land? What about the Yorubas in the Cameroons, in Benin Republic? Why are we not gathering them back into Nigeria? What about the Igbos? Why are we not gathering them? The Ijos, we've got lots of tribes that are scattered around Africa. And by the way, given that, you know, the indigenous Nigerians, of which the Fulanese are not, own the land, they have more claim to bringing all their people into Nigeria and giving them money. The Fulani are migrants. They are simple migrants. Simply is what I mean to say. I don't mean that they're simple. I just mean that they're simply migrants that arrived late 18th century, and yet they're using Nigerian money to claim that all of them in Africa can come into Nigeria, get money, get land, get ranches, while 100 million indigents are starving to death. I am appalled. Stephen, help me here.
Thank you. This man's utterances actually do manifest the conqueror mentality that underlies all the Fulani atrocities. And that's why he's speaking with such effrontery
Confidence
and impunity.
Yes.
As a Fulani man, as a global citizen. Of course, he's a global citizen of the Putajalon Mountains, nothing beyond that.
Thank you.
But because he's a descendant of Mandampodio by the way of Ahmadu Bello, who has said quite affirmatively that we are conquered people. It's that mentality that underlies each and every utterance. He's not missing words at all.
Not at all.
Your question is, why is it the Fulani? Because the Fulani, according to him, in his myopic view, is the dominant conqueror race in this continent. Yes. And that's what the people that are still clamoring for this election or that election, they are utterly misguided.
They are missing the point.
They are misguided. It is not about election. It's about selection. And it's about the selection of who is going to put the dot on the I of the Fulanization agenda that was virtually completed by Muhammad Buhari, thanks to presidential candidate Tinibu Emilokon that brought Buhari in. Thank you.
Okay, Bolade, do you have a comment to make about all these amazing revelations that Bala Mohammed has made? And I am shocked. I am really shocked that Nigerians have not really taken up arms about this particular speech that lays out. I am shocked that this does not have 200 million views And the Nigerians the indigenous Nigerians will now understand exactly what's going on. Balada, if you want to speak, you are muted. And Paul, welcome. We are talking about the Bala Mohammed interview that he gave in 2019, where he claims that the Fulani man is an African man and so can transcend any immigration laws, any citizenship laws. They go wherever they want. They take whatever they want. Every country, I guess, is supposed to give them land and ranches paid for by the federal and state government, while the indigents starve to death. That's what we're just talking about. And we're just taking some comments. So we're talking about Ruga. Under the cover of this election, Fulanization is still striking. And once we go through this video, we'll take a look at the news about what's happening in the Middle Belt. So that's what we're talking about. So Balade, I see you speaking, but I don't know if you're speaking on something else. So if you don't unmute, I'm gonna go ahead and
okay, sorry, I keep on muting myself. Sorry. There's the
what is your reaction to what you're hearing? I'm pausing it so that we can talk about sections of it, because I am shocked.
I mean, they're trying to pull the wool over our eyes, and basically,
it's right in daylight. This is
right in daylight.
This is daylight robbery. This is daylight armed robbery.
You have a quote behind you from the first Prime Minister of Nigeria. He was saying that we've got to not let anybody rule over us, and we're going to rule over them forever. In that statement there, this is an extension of that. Because Absolutely. The Fulanis are very clever. We think they are stupid. Everybody in Nigeria, especially the Yorubas, we say, oh, they didn't go to school, so how can they be clever? No, the Fulanis understand power. That's why they've taken down the whole of the North. And they thought, well, for some time, they settled down and said, well, but now they realize, really, we want the whole of this place. Like I said, they want to drop their Quran in the ocean. At the time of the civil war, the statement was that, which Ojukwu read, he said the British only intervened or stopped their or postponed their conquest to the south. But now, did everybody forget that actually the people in the Middle Belt, plus the Yorubas, plus other people, had fought them to a standstill, and they got no further.
The British did nothing. The Middle Belters stopped them. The Yoruba stopped them. You know, they conquered the North, and ever since they've been trying to conquer the rest, and the British has helped them because of the numbers that they have in the Constitution.
Because if we remember,
and the support they continue to give these people that are killing indigents. We're not talking anything that we haven't, that isn't out there, right? Because we see it every day. Do we not see it every day? It's only indigents that are being killed.
Yeah. If you remember Lord Lugard, when Lugard was came into Nigeria, when he wanted to take down the houses and the Fulanis, he said about the houses, don't give them education. It's not what they need. But he was dealing right with the Fulanis, and he knew what kind of people they were and what their plan was.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Come the amalgamation of Nigeria, what did they say? They said, we are merging the poor bridegroom of the North with the lady of means of the South. Now, everybody got to think about that statement made at that time, because what they also had at that time was that they knew the South was profitable. The British knew that. And the North was not profitable. So all the British were interested in that time was getting all their administration from the South.
Yes.
But now what they're trying to do is they're saying, well, look, we're going to build ranches anywhere we can, and we're taking your land. We don't care about what you guys have done in the past. In fact, we don't even care about the oil as well. We're going to do this because it's a step-by-step process. Because if they wreck Nigeria's economic today, which they've been doing as well anyway from time immemorial,
it's coming. It's coming.
They will now be able to take us down big time because we've got nothing. We got nothing
The Fulani have taken all the choice revenue positions in Nigeria.
Remember,
we've talked about that, and we're not just making it up. We show their names. We have shown the positions.
This is what Nnamdi Kanu said in his video. He said, if you go and check out and see all the posts that are there, you will find out that most of them, or even all of them, were not given to Hausas, they're given to Fulani. So Hausas are not our enemy. They should be saying, look, we've got more at stake in this than anybody else. We've got to get rid of these Fulani because they took us down. But the Hausas, unfortunately, they're so asleep that nobody can wake them up. We can't wake them up.
They are waking up. They are waking up because they're hearing us. So we're going to move forward because we've got a lot to cover. This is just Ruga. And we do have a lot to cover today. But I mean, this is so outlandish. It is so preposterous. It is absolutely outlandish.
Yeah. When there is a reprisal, it is not the Fulani man within Nigeria that causes it. It is that culture of getting revenge, which is embedded in the tradition of the Fulani man that attracts reprisal from all over the
Okay, here's another concept that he's telling Nigerians. If they would only listen, the Fulani their culture is a culture of revenge. If you kill one person, they'll kill 100,000. It's a culture of revenge. Okay? If you kill a cow, Miiti Allah says 1 cow, that 100 human beings is equal to 1 cow. This is what Miiti Allah said a few years ago, which is preposterous. But this is what he's telling us. And all of those who are running around Nigeria are talking about, oh, you know, we have Fulanese who have a different mentality, and they've been takia, saying that they stand against this or stand against that. Well, first of all, their culture is one of revenge. Second of all, their culture is one of conquest. Thirdly, their culture is one of takia, which is lying in the name of religion. So, but let's continue because there's so much here.
Those Fulani men who are maybe domiciled in other countries who move around, they can come into the country and this plan will accommodate them as well.
Yes, that's what we want to do. But it has to be done through sensitization, telling them you have to buy in the project and you use the language, the culture itself to be able to convince them.
Did you guys hear this? Foreign Fulani need to be convinced to come and take free land, free ranches, and free money that belongs to indigenous Nigerians. They're going to go and convince them. And now you'll soon hear them say, you hear him say, they're already doing this in 2019. And then we're going to show where they're already building 119 ranches in the Middle Belt, even though this was defeated.
Where the whole system of transhumance or pastoralism is criminalized. Criminalization of pastoralism is the problem that we have with this.
No, it's not. Fulanization is.
People with passion who understand them and who they believe it, people like us from that part of the country, to say, yes, we have this. Because today there is no limit to the accusation that this and that has happened and it is the blind man who caused it. There is no tribe that is not, that we don't have this criminality in, but certainly the way and manner we do it is really exacerbating the crisis and the problems. Would there be any form of documentation of all?
Okay, so I'm going to end this here, guys. I'm going to end this here because so that we can move forward. But I think that it is obvious to everyone listening what is happening here. And like I said, I'm shocked that this video has not been everywhere. We show it a lot for this very reason, because this Ruga that was defeated in the National Assembly, but still keeps coming up. And right now, because of elections, I'm going to show you the headlines where these ranches are being built. The federal government is going to build it and hand it to foreign Fulani on land belonging to indigenous Nigerians. Now, do you now wonder why the federal government have not returned the 6 million people displaced by these Fulani from their lands? They're living in squalid conditions in IDP camps. But the Fulani-led government, led by the Fulani Buhari, is not returning them to their land. They're building ranches for more Fulani who are non-Nigerians to come from wherever they are and take over your land. This was just in May, as election fever was hitting up. Fulanization continues to strike. So I'll give other people an opportunity to speak. Paul, you've heard some of the things that Bala Mohammed has to say as to how all foreign Fulani as citizens of Nigeria, and apparently of everybody in this world, the Fulani are the only ones that can go anywhere in Africa and take over. They can go anywhere. And all the governments are supposed to give them ranches because they are they transcend immigration laws. They transcend borders. And they will take money meant for indigents to give to these foreign Fulanese who don't even come from the country. Unbelievable. So, Noah, I see that you're in. If you wanted to make a comment on that, while I go out here and pull up the information on the 119 ranches that are being built by the federal government. So Noah, Paul, if you guys wanted to speak on what we're just talking about Ruga, before I show what's actually happening right now under cover of the 2023 election fever. Okay, seems like everyone is okay with what we've said so far. So let us take a look and see how this is possible. Here it is, guys. May 1st, 2022. Federal government to establish 119 ranches in Benue, Taraba, others. These are the exact places, this middle belt places, where they have killed over 350,000 people, according to the United Nations, revised numbers as of last year. They now want to pay foreign Fulani to come into the middle belt and give them 119 ranches on land that belongs to indigents. This is colonization. That's why Nines has put out a video saying that this here is colonization. Ruga is colonization. Water Resources Bill is colonization. State Indigent Bill is colonization. And don't think for one moment, South, talking about Southeast, South, Southwest. Don't think for one moment that this isn't coming to your doorstep yet. Next, it is. Because they start everything in the middle belt, where they've been trying to conquer and where they have been massacring hundreds of thousands of people for years. And now this is what is going to culminate in Ruga that has been defeated, and yet the federal government is going ahead to institute Ruga anyway, and they've been doing it since before 2019 anyway.
Jane?
Go ahead.
Please, may I be excused? My other meeting is starting.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Stephen.
Thank you much.
See you next week, Stephen.
Okay, sir. Thank you much.
Okay, talk to you later. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the Water Resources Bill, because, you know, we started talking about this in the beginning, and it's the next thing that's on our agenda to talk about is what does this really mean, this Water Resources Bill? What does it really mean? Under the cover of the election, water resources bill is rearing up its ugly head. Do you guys know what this water resources bill means?
Got a little inkling and
Yeah,
idea
we
what
talked
it is.
about it. Stephen talked a little bit about it. So the waterways to every single river, every single stream, right? The ocean, the borehole behind your home is going to be controlled by the federal government. Any spring, any water at all will be controlled by the federal government. Can you see how this furthers the Fulanization agenda? It is quite clear what this is meant to do. But we do have various groups that have kicked against this. You know, we talked about earlier how Benue absolutely indicated that they are not giving up their land to the federal government, right? They are not going to give up their land to the federal government because that's what this is about. We've got UNIPA that issued statements. We've got, you know, like we talked about, we have the Benue governor that talked about this. And just give me a second. I'm trying to open up some headlines that we can take a look at because there's quite a few out there. Okay. So here's one. This is on, which one is this? Is this Sahara Reporters? Rise against Buhari government's water resources bill, seeking control of all waterfalls, boreholes, others, and will extend Northerners' domination. That's what this is about. The extension of Northern domination. And let me pull up something here that we can read as to what this is about. Okay, because we've got different takes on this, and so we want to be able to tell people exactly what it means. So let's take a look at what UNIPA had to say. So the UNIPA had this to say: we have studied the water resources bill and we found no sense in it. Our country representative in Nigeria reported that this is a facade and a complete hijack of the assets of indigenous people, especially in the South and Middle Belt parts of the country. It goes on to talk about what the implications of this water resources bill is. The implications of the water resources bill is that the administration and control of Ipole Iloro Waterfall, Ikogosi Warm Spring, Ado Ekiti Water Works, Ero River, Ogidibi Stream, Iyemero Water, all in Ekiti State, now belongs to the central government of Nigeria. That's the federal government. All this water is going to belong to them. The central government of Nigeria already hijacked the resources of the states and the local government areas by pocketing 53% of the entire revenue accrued to the federation account. Now, the same government is extending its penchant for asset grabbing by attempting to hijack, for instance, Oguta Lake from the people of Oguta in Imo State, Awum Waterfall and Cave from the people of Amayogu village of Awum Town in Enugu State, and Namabia Warm Spring from the people of Benue State, Abokim Waterfalls from the government of Cross River State, among others. This is beyond egregious. This is beyond egregious. So I've got Noah. Go ahead and unmute yourself and talk to us about this water resources bill that is going through. The last time I looked, last week, I think it was going through a second reading. We need to rise our people up to understand that they must demand that their representatives in the National Assembly kill this bill once and for all and never raise his head again. And the National Assembly need to caution Buhari in building any ranches on the Ruga that was rejected by the National Assembly. There's a lot going on that is not happening. And if we concentrate on the election, we will miss our freedom. We will have our freedom taken from us by these Fulanis who have already put themselves in positions of power in Nigeria, ignoring federal character, which they conveniently made unenforceable in the fraudulent 1999 so-called constitution, but military decree 24. Everything we're talking about here is reality. We can back it up with the facts. Noah, what do you think about having to get permission from the federal government to take water from your own borehole at the back of your home?
Good afternoon, everybody.
It is not funny.
This is when an issue is too serious and barbaric, then it becomes a laughing joke of the day, because that is what it is. And then coming from the solution aspect of view, from inception, from Aburi till now, Fulanis don't listen to dialogue. The only language they understand is to rise up to their level and speak the language in which they understand, which we don't have the capacity presently. So we will just do what we can do, awaken the people, and use one of those strategies in which we have talked about, because project-wise, we have already planned and have different type of strategy in which we can use. Now, it is the function of the Senate from each district to stand up and represent their community well. And if they cannot represent their community well, they should come home. Because as an individual organization, independent organization, we cannot tackle, we can, but to a limit that we can tackle federal government. Otherwise, we have to take them to the international court, or we have the Senate to do their job in which they are called to represent their individual district at the federal level. And if they cannot represent individual districts and speak up, they should come back home. That is the solution now. That is the only thing that I see, because if we say, let's go to federal court, the case will be thrown out, because they have already strategized and put the federal court in Abuja, in which they will always dictate the same way they imprison and extra-indicate in Nnamdi Kanu illegally from Cameroon. So that is my own opinion. The people need to speak up. The statesmen need to come together. The Christian Association, because that is the most powerful organization we have in Nigeria today, because the labor union is not functioning. So those are the things that we can do. It's time to start going into action, because I am tired of talking. I am tired of it. And thank God for the international community. Nigerians are used to suffering and smiling, which I understand. But from the international community aspect of view, it is only us that can save the country. Trust me. Trust me. If you speak up in Nigeria as a press, as an individual, they will pick you up.
Yeah.
They will pick you up. Your station will be shut down. I won't blame them that so much, but we can still empower them to whichever level we can do. We are making a lot of progress. This is not the stage that they planned for us. By now, we would have been in another zone, if not for the fight and the struggle that we put on ground. So that is what I have to say.
I am muted. Sorry. Noah, thank you very much for saying that, because we are now at a point. I mean, we're talking about, this is just egregious, right? It's egregious. And we're talking about, what can people do? And we'll talk about some more about this, because we've seen Autumn, we've seen other governors in the Middle Belt calling for their people to defend themselves. I think this is, it's late, but it doesn't matter when you wake up, that is your morning, as they say. Because we saw in 2018 when T.Y. Danjuma made it very public to everyone. He's talked about ethnic cleansing and the Fulani agenda to take over Nigeria. He made it clear. He was very clear. And when you listen to Bala Mohammed in 2019, Bala Mohammed was laying out the Conquest plan, how they were going to do this through Ruga, where they pay to bring all Fulani to overwhelm the indigenous people in Nigeria. That's what Bala Mohammed was talking about. He put it out there so that his people, his Fulani people, will hear it and come and take the wealth of Nigeria while 100 million Nigerians are living in poverty. Why is the government paying for 119 ranches when people are starving, when those in IDP camps do not have food, shelter, schools, running water, nothing? How dare the audacity of this Buhari Fulani government to make money available for Fulanis, but not for the indigenous people? I mean, this is blatant. This is blatant. This is what they are actually doing. Now they want to take the water from Benue State. They want to take the water from Enugu State. They want to take the water from Edo State, from Cross River, from Bayelsa. Every single piece of water they want to take over. They've already taken, they've been trying to take the land with Ruga, right? And then the next one that we're going to talk about will be the state indigenous bill. But I see, okay, I saw, it looks like Paul dropped off because I know he had wanted to speak, but I see Ogaraku, if you wanted to make a comment about what we are talking about, which is this water resources bill that wants to take the borehole that you have in your backyard in your village. Ogaraku, do you have a comment?
Yes, please.
Yes, please talk to me about this water bill, this evil water bill.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Elder.
Ladies and gentlemen, good to have you once again here. I want to encourage us, honestly, because one, it is said that we are the elders. Elders in this sense can then be those who knew what is happening, first to speak. People die of ignorance. I encourage every work that is being done here. Mary Jane, AY, every other person, and a lot of people who are doing things in different ways to inform us. Unfortunately, 3 times I'm saying it, the choice of, or our Nigerians' choice of change has always been without a direction. It's always meaning changing personalities, not changing approach or changing strategy, unfortunately. And our system, which is based in a fraudulent constitution, has always made it that he who finds himself in the so-called apex office of presidency does what he wants. And the worst is the immunity that follows this, means whatever you do, as soon as you leave office, you must be protected. That simply means one can do as much evil as they want, and each person who comes does more evil than the other. That trying to make sure that things directed to his own interest, not even to his own people, because sometimes this is a clue of people who want certain things and impose it on us. The idea of water bill, Ruga, it is a law in the northern Nigeria some time ago when they have the influence over their own people using what they call it, livestock as the only means, and then they never wanted to use a kind of permanent setup. The South is never structured in this area. And fortunately, this is why you have the water. And they are using every strategy, using the blindness of the Constitution and the National Assembly that has been constituted in the structure they have created in the imposed Constitution, just to make sure they force Nigeria into this issue of Ruga, water bill. And then they are doing everything, even at the last minute of the administration, just to get these ideas in. And the funny thing is this: when you put up a constitution, if you're able to do it, it is always difficult to get it out, because before people vote it out, it passes through another process. And so what am I trying to say? The evil intent the evil intent of this administration is never hidden in any way. And it's unfortunately, they are not ashamed of it. But we have to speak against it. And I'm happy people are waking up. And the job we are doing here, which you people are championing, are making a lot of impact on the people. Don't think the number of people we have in the platform here determines that. No, people listens, and it is affecting the reactions of people. Look at the platform, social medias, and what people are saying. Though my interest shouldn't have been that the election should hold, just like that's what we stood for. However, even on that aspect of it going on, you can see how people are reacting to it. And they knew that some people are imposing, the religious groups are talking, even mosques are talking. How can people impose themselves on the people with what they stole from the people? Because from the so-called governorship, even Senate or House of Representatives, we have immunity. We continue to steal this country dry, and then use it to continue to return yourself from governor to Senate to vice president, to not. Who are you? Was that meant for you alone?
Not my turn.
Was that meant for you alone? So yes, all this idea, and then sometimes they find themselves as a cactus. Watch my back and I watch your back. This, even if you impose any of those people, old cactus that you find there, they will keep their black eyes, and this things will continue. It is time that this constitution must change, and it is time that people should have say. In fact, I heard what Brother Bolande was about saying. I think people will soon get to the awareness of calling home their senators or their elected representatives.
It is time. It is time. We've been calling for them.
At the time we'll start
we need to have a mass mobilization, right, Honorable?
Yeah,
we've been talking about the mass mobilization.
Yes, people will be responsible to their people, not to the Abuja and the so-called.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when this consciousness gets to the people, I think that's when we get our issues right. Thank you, and God bless again.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Balade. Did you want to make a comment on that?
Yes.
Because this water resources bill is
talking about
so
the water
egregious. It is so egregious.
Well, you see, funny enough, you can't control water. You're saying the areas where the waters are, that's what you want to go. So basically, you can say, me and you will not be allowed in these places at one point. But the only thing is that other countries have tried it, and then basically it never worked. Has anybody watched that movie? I'm sorry about this. That movie, James Bond, Quantum of Solace. That was what it was about. They wanted to control certain people's water. They failed in that. That's the movie. But they're going to fail in this, because if people now know that at the moment I can go down to my stream and get water and take it home, then in about the next 12 months, the Nigerian government is saying, you can't do that, or you now have to pay us to do that. I think a lot of right people think that are thinking right should rise up and say, this is the final straw. You can't do this. Because not only have you killed Nigeria to death, to follow somebody else's saying, you're now saying we're going to follow you into the afterlife, and basically your kids are not going to get anything. And it's like fella said,
I love it. The afterlife.
It's like fella said, Nadabu wahala for dead body and the owner of dead body. Nigeria is like a corpse that they want to take and go and bury, but nobody has the idea of what they want to do. So they're dragging it this way and that way. Do you know in the IMF, Nigeria is not a poor country. Now, do you know that they said as of February this year, the NNPC has not remitted any monies back to the federal account. So what is Nigeria living on? Who is our oil minister at the moment? Do you know who it is? You got it. It's Buhari. So what did Buhari do with our money? He's the oil minister. So all of them, there are lots of people that have made their money in oil and are still making their money out of oil. How are they doing that?
They claim that 88% of the oil is being stolen by piracy. 88%. This government should have been ended 6 months after they started. If you're going to lose 88% of the oil, and you cannot control terrorists on motorbikes, and you spend over $1 billion to purchase arms, and you're asking the US for another $1 billion, you can't even strike terrorists because you're striking your own people every single time. Now you tell me, you're
Well,
turbaned. You're turbaned terrorists, right? You guys saw that.
Yeah, that's already. Then those people know what they did to the port in Lagos, one of the premier ports in the country. It's now controlled by one of their guys, I think. He's called the Seriki of Lagos. What an insult.
Yes.
We now have a Seriki of Lagos.
Yes.
In fact, we have two. We have one in Agege as well. And then
right. I think one in Festac. One was done in Festac.
I mean, yeah.
If this is not an invasion, I don't know what this is.
That makes three now. We got if you got the one in Sue area, the one in Festac, and the one in Agege.
In the southeast. You know, they're using their stooges in the southeast. And I don't want to talk about the people that are being killed in the southeast.
No.
Supposed, state security forces, right? We see it every day. We see it every day.
I mean, sometimes these people, they find some of these people that they know they're not other people, and they know they're doing wrong, and they probably have done wrong. They now arrest them, hand them over to the authorities. What the authorities do, following day, they now roll into your village and say, no, those people you picked up yesterday, they did nothing. In fact, you were the ones that did it. We're taking you. So what can you do? So like people said, we got to have our own self-defense. Our people have got to learn to defend themselves. And certain people will do that and are going to do that. We've either got to make them know that, look, right, but the government ain't coming for you. Nobody's got your security at heart. It's down to you. You've got to do it. Because unfortunately, history doesn't teach us anything but that. Because if you look at anything in history, they will tell you that, look, certain people had to pick up arms when certain people were not treating them right. It's the same thing with America. How America got started. Remember the Boston Tea Party? They said to the British, well, look, no representation, no taxation without representation.
Yeah.
So the British said you're paying tax. They said we're not. So they threw all the tea in the water, in the river. And then the next thing that happened, well, the Brits say, well, look, either you do this or we're coming for you. Said, well, we'll be ready for you. And that's when they picked up arms and took arms against their own, because they were British people. They had to take arms against their own government, right? Who were theirs. So basically, this is the same kind of process that's going on in Nigeria. A certain sector of Nigeria is saying, we are the chosen one. We can do whatever we like to you,
and
because
these are migrants. These are migrants.
Yeah.
The Fulani are migrants. They are not indigenous Nigerians. There's no such thing. House of Fulani tribe
does not exist.
419. There's
that
such tribe
point
as House
you
of
are
Fulani.
right there. That is the solution. That point you are right there. That is the only language those guys understand. It is the truth. There's difference between diplomacy and truth. There's difference between diplomacy and truth. This is the truth. That is the only language they understand. If you like pick up black card for 21 million years, they never listen to diplomacy and dialogue. Never.
No. Because these Fulanis, they are playing the game of command and conquer. Let me put it that way. They've got the command and they want to conquer. They're always going to do it. They can't change their courses. They've looked at the rest of Nigeria and said, how are we going to take them down? Unfortunately, we, the people of Nigeria, we've let them come into us. So they know what our mindset is like. So when they talk to us, they know how to push our buttons and what's going to make us go over the edge. So now they're just waiting. I mean, I keep on watching these videos. They say the Fulanis are waiting for a command. They're waiting for a command. Now,
well, they are already being commanded. So okay, let's move on. Baladi, let's kind of move on because we have some more stuff.
I'm sorry, I can talk too much.
We have some more stuff to talk about. So we've talked about the water resources bill. We've talked about Ruga, and we're talking about the state indigent bill that is secretly, it is still secretly being discussed. And we're going to talk about what that is. But this is an apt quote here from Autumn. No government in Nigeria. Buhari helping Fulanis take over. I think that's pretty clear what he's trying to say. Yep. Because guys, think about this. Autumn was being attacked by Fulham, a Fulani group. that boldly said that they were going to kill him. And the federal government said nothing. The federal government has immunity. The federal government had that took responsibility. They said that the killings were reprisal killings. This is outside of the law. They're breaking the law. The federal government has seen immunity where they were kidnapping and gave them 100 billion naira a few years ago to stop kidnapping. Did they stop kidnapping? No, they have continued to kidnap, and they have now splintered themselves, right? Because now you have the Fulani herdsmen, you have the bandits, but the Katsina governor told us bandits are Fulani. We know them, they're Fulani, right? And then they split themselves into kidnappers. And then you've got, they're all carrying AK-47s and more sophisticated weapons. They are being delivered food by helicopter. We've seen all of this, right? And yet, the Western world is sitting back, acting as if nothing is happening. Our people are not getting this information. That's why we at Freedom from Nigeria are packaging this information. We only tell what is going on out there. We bring it together so people can see what's going on. So when we're talking about a Fulanization, colonization agenda, that's going to take away your freedom, it's going to take away your religion, it's going to take away your land, and it's going to take away the future of your children to inherit the goodness of the land that they're on. And I'm afraid to say this, when you have the UK that knows that unitary Nigeria is not what was agreed to, and we talked about this a few weeks ago when we looked at the document from 1953 in the UK archives, right? And then we take a look at the Constitution that happened in 1960. When the military government was handing the reins back to the civilian government, you would have expected that the UK, the UN, the US, Germany, all those big world leading countries would have said and insisted that the sovereignty of those nations be restored. Nobody has. What is going on? So, as we're talking about again, this is what we're talking about, right? We're talking about the Fulanization agenda that's going on, and we're talking about the state indigent situation. So I'm going to share that. This was a writing that was going around on social media and on the platforms that really well captures the problem and the fact that there isn't a bigger outcry from the people who are about ready to lose more than just the boreholes in the back of their house. They're getting ready to lose the whole house, the farm, and everything else. So there's an ongoing secret constitutional amendment that makes a visitor or migrant in your state or town an indigent after 5 years. And I'm just going to read this. What is supposed to be a ruse of constitutional amendment is going on in Nigeria's National Assembly, and enlightened people are silent. That's because they're not hearing about it. It is not making the rounds. The freedom groups are not screaming about this. Okay, we have a responsibility when we are out in the public to educate our people about what's going on and get them to rise up. They need to rise up and go to their governors and their senators and the House of Rep and demand that they shut down these things that stand against the people. They either do their jobs or they go. Do your job or give up your job to somebody who can do the job. One would have thought that in view of the agitations that have plagued the country, threatening to tear it apart at the very seams, the first item for discussion ought to have been fiscal federalism based on composite nationalities within the federation. This is talking about what Ninas is talking about, which is returning the nations. The UN should have been all over this. Should have been all over this in 1999 when they were bringing in that unitary constitution. The UN should have said, oh, wait, no, wait. This is our responsibility to see that indigenous nations survive. And what this is not allowing indigenous nations to survive. And this unitary system has already been proven that it is not going to work, and that one group can dominate another. And in this case, it is migrant Fulani, migrants. In case people don't know what migrants are, this means that these people came from outside of Nigeria. Fulanis came from outside of Nigeria and are now dominating Nigerians with the help of the British government that put these numbers, that skewed the numbers to the Fulani. They literally skewed the number to the Fulani. And this is what we're talking about, right? Sadly, there is no clause in the proposal that even pretends to address this issue in the least, okay? So this is a problem. This is a serious problem. It goes on to say, so you're in Lagos or Abuja working with a government or going about your legitimate occupation. Someone comes over and settles in your father's land, stays there for 5 years and claims it for himself, having by law become an indigent. What preposterous
and the evil thing there is that they are forcing most of the federal establishment in the so-called north, thereby throwing you out of your own base, then throwing their own people to come into your bushes.
Thank you.
And in your lands, in your water areas, and then claim citizenship.
This is colonization. It's an invasion. This is an invasion. I mean, I have to give them credit, right? I have to give them credit because this is a diabolical, an absolute diabolical plan. I mean, we can't say, I mean, it's not your traditional war, but there is a war against Christians. There's a war against moderate Muslims who are indigents. Because when you look at the area where the agitations are happening and the terror is happening, it's all in Christian area, Southern Kaduna. Why isn't it coming from Northern Kaduna? Now the government has gotten reporters. They can no longer say Southern Kaduna when they're reporting about this evil of the Fulanis, these killings of the Fulani, these murders, this terrorists, the kidnappings. They cannot report Southern Kaduna anymore. Now it's being called Kaduna, so that the Western world cannot differentiate that this is still happening in the Christian area. This is egregious. Yet we have Christians in the National Assembly. There are Christians on many elite platforms, and this is who, and they're folding their hands and doing nothing. Forget the church leaders, many of whom have not only sold Christians for a pittance, but even selling their supposed patron, Jesus Christ, in modern day Judas style. Very damning, very damning. Because Nina's put out a video not too long ago asking, where is the Christian community, the Christian leaders endangering its own people? And we have to say yes. There is no other answer but yes, because where are their voices? Where are the voices of Christians are being massacred in the Middle Belt? Where are their voices? Now the massacring has moved to the Southeast and the Southwest, where young boys and young girls are being taken and killed. We just saw what happened in Awomama just a few days ago. 14 young people.
And more than 14.
I think they said it's up to 21 now.
Some people went out with wounds.
Exactly.
And died in the private
I'm talking about those that were killed. I think it said they're up to 21 that were killed.
Yes, 21.
So the people in the state are saying that Hope Uzodinma is his Ebubago security forces that are killing young people in Imo. And he came out and he said that it was not his Ebubago, but the federal government DSS that killed those young people for no good reason. This is a country where the state and federal government kills its own people. But guys, remember, the International Criminal Court has said that there is reasonable basis to believe that the Nigerian armed forces has committed, crimes against humanity, its own humanity that rises to the level of war crimes. And they issued that in 2020. They visited Nigeria in 2022. And in that report, they also said that the Nigerian government has done nothing in the 10 years that they have been working with the Nigerian government. The Nigerian government has done nothing to prevent these war crimes against indigents. That is damning.
Yeah.
And then you see Amnesty International that tells you that all these terrorists are getting operating with impunity. What does impunity mean? It means they are not being held accountable. They're not being prosecuted. They're not being put in jail. In fact, they are being made repentant.
That's where I was going.
Ranches,
that's what I was going
land and homes. Go ahead, Golade.
That's what I wanted to say. I think it was some people from the UN came to Nigeria. They went to one state, only one state. I'm not quite sure what state they went to. And they now came back and said, oh, it's great that you're rehabilitating these terrorists and putting them in the army. They said that. They said that in the army.
Secretary General Antonio Guterres
Yeah.
of the United Nations
Yes.
that is saying that it's okay to integrate foreign terrorists,
into the Nigerian army, into
your community.
Yeah, exactly.
Into your community.
So
They come into your community.
So is anybody surprised that we had that jailbreak planned by who? Oh, unknown gunmen and unknown terrorists. No.
There's no such thing as unknown,
It is
right?
in between them. They knew who did it. Between the government and these other guys, all of them knew because they said 24 hours before this, they took down the soldiers.
They changed the guards.
They changed the guard. Then the CCCV that we spent a lot of money for, that was turned off. Oh, all of a sudden, jailbreak. I mean, do we not know we're more than a laughing stock to the rest of the world? Even, in fact, the rest of Africa don't want to talk about Nigeria. Oh no, we don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, but we need them to talk because
I know we need them to talk. we need them that when Buhari shows up in their country, say, no, man, you know what? Go fix your country. Don't come and sit down here. Go fix your country.
Yes, and when he went to Onga, he was in Onga last year. Why did they entertain him? Why did they not talk about what he is not doing in Nigeria? I am perplexed.
Maybe because these
very perplexed because this is what you're talking about. 35,000. We talked about this. This is a Fulanization agenda, my folks.
Yeah.
This is a Fulanization agenda that we're talking about. This is the same Zulum that last year said that these repentant terrorists were, what did he say? He said that they were spies. Now he's letting in 35,000. I think, was it Shehu, the prior senator, that said, where were these 35,000 terrorists that the Nigerian government couldn't find them?
Yeah, exactly. But they found them. They found them. They knew where they were all along.
Yes, as soon as they wanted to bring them in to come in and start killing people, they needed to find them. Every time that they want to negotiate, they need to find them.
Why don't they talk to Sheikh Gumi or even put Sheikh Gumi in the president? Because basically he meets with them on a regular basis. He knows where to go.
They all meet with them on a regular basis. We saw Shetima.
Oh,
current VP aspirant with Shetima is with Atiku, right?
Is he?
Is he with Atiku?
I think
right?
he
was eating with a terrorist.
Yes. No, he's not with Atiku. He's with Tinibu. He's with Tinibu.
Okay, he's with Tinibu. That's right. He's with Tinibu.
Because he's also on record of saying certain things that, well, look, the Igbos basically, we're going to do their minutes. Said, what's going to happen? Right? Said, we didn't know this. We're going to produce some stuff. They're going to finish them down in the southwest, and then we're going to export it. Then we're going to share the money between us and the south. Then he also said something. Said, well, over here in Lagos, we said, well, what we're going to do, if Lagos is going to buy land for say £10,000, and our Ulster man will buy it for £50,000, and you man will now take about £1 million. He said. Then he also said, well, what we're going to do, he said, you see the Igbos, they can go do whatever they want with the oil, basically. We don't want it no more. I'm thinking, so why don't you let us go anyway then? Why don't you let them go? If they want to go, let them go. But no, they can't. They've got to wreck Nigeria totally so that our kids, their kids are almost the same, know nothing. So there's no future for any kid to go to any university, any college and go forward. And then they will now have what they call in the Quranic schools. They will send in their kids to these Quranic schools where they're now going to learn the basics of this hatred religion of Wahhabism, Islam, and they're going to say, oh, go kill the infidel. Barely 12 years old, and they're going to say, go kill the infidel. I don't know what kind of society we were going to become, but this is what we're saying. And say, if you lie to the infidel, God will not punish you. I said, well, look.
That's takia. That is called
takia. I tell you, look, if you lie to somebody, lies and lie, what do you treat a fellow human being wrongly? Do you think God up there is not thinking about what you've just done to your fellow human being?
Well, apparently what they believe, these radical terrorists, what they believe that if they're doing something in the name of Islam,
yes,
that they are forgiven. That's called takia. And so you find them lying, so, because they, and the question came up. It's like, aren't you guys being hypocrites? You are taking the tax from alcohol, and yet you're destroying the alcohol of other people in the north. And they said, oh, well, under the Quran, we can take I'm just like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah, but these same people that are in that town imposing the Sharia law during the day, in the middle of the night, they now come out and go to all these hotels that these people have built, and they're fornicating, and they don't say anything wrong with it.
Yeah, but let's talk about the fact that if you have Sharia in a country that is secular, and you are imposing it on other people who are not Islamic and who are not, even if they're Islamic, don't believe in Sharia, you have seceded from the country.
Oh, of course. But
you have seceded from the country because religion, and they have Sharia courts. They even have Hishba police. They have police in the 12 contiguous states, and no governor in the middle belt to south have access to any police that they control.
No.
But in the north, they have Hishba police.
Did you hear this one? 12 police officers that went to, what's that state? Osun State, to monitor the election. They were now going back to Abuja and they got kidnapped. But I'm saying, where's the Osun State state police then?
Well, the Osun State Police is controlled by the federal government.
I know that, but I'm saying.
Well, the bigger question, Balade, is this. The train attack.
Yeah, okay.
The airport attack.
Yes.
The attack at the academy. The attack at the prison. The attacks in people's homes. The taking of 300 students. You know how long that would take?
Oh, yeah. We are
and the federal government, nor neither the police, the DSS, the army, none. No armed forces show up after they show up. And if people want to go after the people, they prevent them from doing so. That's the role of the armed forces in Nigeria.
Could we go back a little bit? You remember Jonathan Goodluck? They said he was bad, he was this, he was that. He said straight away, he said he knows all these Boko Haram, who they were, when they were. He said he knew they were in his government. He probably knew who they were. He probably couldn't do anything. But if they knew then, they still knew now. And even some of them haven't even been proved to actually being in bed with them. They were on record as saying, oh yeah, they were the ones getting their weapons for them, bringing it in through helicopter, with a helicopter, dropping it down for them. A gentleman got a video of it. He showed the helicopter coming in, landing, white man getting out, handed it over. They handed over something to him, and the rest is history.
So,
I don't want to use what's he called, Nigel Farage's, if anybody know who he is. We want our country back. We want our nations back. We want them.
Exactly. That's kind of where we are right now, is that the indigenous people must demand their nations back. We need to mass mobilize our people so that we can reclaim our nations. And this is great. There's all kinds of facets of this that need to occur, right? All facets of this need to occur. At this time, right, you know, we have the Nina's plan, which is taking down the Constitution, stopping the 2023 election, because it just brings back the Constitution that we had the constitutional force majeure against in 2020, right? We need to make sure that we're making enough noise in the international space to insist upon the fact that those regions were sovereign nations. They were self-government, they were autonomous, they had their own leadership, they controlled the assets and welfare of their people, and much more. They did not have to, the federal government could not speak into the running of those nations. They were a sovereignty. And so we need to focus. We need to focus on this, because under this guise, as what we're talking about is that under the guise of the election fever and excitement, the Fulanization agenda is marching on. It is striking, and it is trying to come to a conclusion. So what should our governors be doing? Let's talk about, I'm gonna go out here and talk about what some state governors are talking about, right? Because some state governors are now calling on their people to take up arms, which is a dangerous thing, but they're calling on their people to defend themselves. This has been necessary. This is necessary. Why? Let me show you why it is necessary. Because the federal government, the state government have abandoned their people. You guys remember this? This is what the defense minister had to say a little over a year ago to indigents. Don't be cowards. Yet, this same defense minister and this same government is disarming, taking arms away from
the people, yes,
but keeping it in the hands of terrorists. They are taking arms away and asking citizens to defend themselves, what, with forks and knives and spoons?
Exactly.
Against the people that they're allowing to carry AK-47s.
Yeah.
I mean, these are facts. Everything that we're talking about here, these are facts. This is what's going on. And Buhari had the audacity, and this is, yes, it's audacity, to say that these people carrying the AK-47s are from Mauritania and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, why haven't you stopped them? Why haven't you gotten them out of the forest, those criminal elements, Bala Mohammed? Why haven't you stopped the bandits? So this is kind of where we're at, okay? So again, let's talk about self-defense. What do our people need to do, okay? What do our people need to do? Because these governors are talking about self-defense. And this is very important because we have to stay alive. We have a group of people who have come into our country, and they are doing everything that they can to wipe us out. And I'm going to show that video before we end today. But right now, I'm trying to find the information where the Benue governor, and I'm trying to remember if it's Katsina. There's another governor that calls, okay, here's the one on the law that the Benue governor amended. And this is one thing that all indigents in every state in the alliance territory must demand that their governors put in place. He amended law to allow volunteer guards to bear arms, but they cannot bear this little arms, right? And we need to make sure that every single person that comes into a vigilante security group is vetted. They need to have a background check. You need to make sure that they are who they say they are and they're of good character. Because we don't want our own people killing our own people too, just to make gain for themselves, just because of how difficult things are in Nigeria. Okay, so they need to go a step further and form farming guards to protect the farmers, because there is fire on the mountain. There is fire on the mountain. There's fire in the food supply. There's fire on the security. There's fire in people just peaceably living their lives, as we witness when there's 21 young people were killed, gunned down by either the federal or the state security forces. It's one or the other or both. We don't know. But what we know is that these are not criminal elements unless you count the state security and the federal armed forces as criminal elements because of the crimes against humanity that they're committing. So every indigenous person from the Middle Belt to South needs to call upon their governors to arm their volunteer vigilante guards and to get them trained. They have to be trained because these people are coming in trained in Mauritania. They're being trained by the Arabs, because the Fulani are part Arabs, is what I understand. They've been trained by these Islamic Arab countries. We need to train our own people to our own state vigilante groups and give them the proper arms, because you guys saw where Akerodu was talking about how they are being overrun. They're literally being overrun by this terrorist. You've heard from Afenefere, the talk about how they're being overrun by this terrorist. This, unfortunately, is what's going on in Nigeria currently. I'll let somebody else talk about what people need to do while I bring up the information on the governors that are calling on their indigents to self-defense. Honorable, I see you're still there.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, we're talking about self-defense. Let's talk about if this is something that is protected under Nigerian law, because we're talking about the fact, we've said this before, under international law, self-defense, when someone comes against you, against your life, against your property, against your wife and your children and your assets, you have the right and the duty to defend yourself by any means necessary. In the context of Nigeria, however, if the indigents are not allowed to bear arms to defend themselves, then should the federal government be sued because they are breaking Nigerian law by disarming citizens while they were allowing terrorists to carry arms? Because the Nigerian law protects the right to self-defense.
You see, that's what is called fallacy of purpose in Nigeria. Not long ago, the federal government announced that everybody should hand over their arms. Is that not correct?
Thank you for saying that.
And then when they ask you to hand over your arms, and then some other people are being equipped with arms, they are meant to be around you, not loving you, with a given purpose. And then somebody is preaching, including, call it a bitter truth, defend yourself. What will you defend yourself with? Yes, I know in the past broadcast here, we have taught people of creating some local defensives. But the best thing that will defend you is government policy.
Absolutely.
And when the government policy is against you, you are helpless.
Yes.
So when they make all these public announcements, such people like Danjima, like any other important personalities, governors who have told us about this, don't they know the legislative aspect of it that can be followed to get people a legit right to defend themselves? Does it mean when somebody comes in with a AK-47 to shoot me, I will go and fight him, and then that's self-defense? Is that what we're talking about? We have impoverished our people morally. We publish our people in security aspect, and thereby asking people, advising people to what do you call it? Yeah, you can listen to that. So the issue of defend yourself still means hiding arms,
Exactly.
hiding arms, buying it illegally,
Exactly.
and then tomorrow, when a neighbor hear you shoot once, and if there are those people planted around you, they inform the same law enforcement agent that this person has arm.
Exactly.
And they will come to search your house and take it. And then this is equality, public morality of defend yourself. They should help us to be able to, somebody who has been a defense minister, most of these governors, they should be able to let us know exactly the laws and then back it up.
They need
Because
to put the laws in place.
for me,
Yes.
excuse me,
They
when police
need
will
to
come for me
call
to search for
upon.
me, to search against me, whatever is instrument I am having, making me naked morally and mentally immoral, then how can I defend myself in fact, the person, Danjuma said it very clear. He said, they collude. They collude. When they collude, what simple means, it is the same government that will come and take what you have to defend yourself and allow those people who comes to kill you.
Absolutely.
This is exactly what is happening in the Middle Belt.
Absolutely.
And they're finding their ways down ways. And it seems nothing is happening. So how I wish, you see, every effort that's supposed to have made meaningful impact in the world is what we have made in Nigeria. But because some people feel that when you have what do you call it, a dance in leadership, it seems as if to say, sometimes they know, but they use that excuse. Sometimes people use ignorance or claim ignorance to be able to play against issues. So we declare constitution force majeure in Nigeria. Simple means that people have rejected this constitution. Government that cares supposed to have listened to this. This is what happened not near us, South Africa. But remember that even Ghana was ruled by military government.
Yes.
And they didn't impose a constitution on their people. Why should Nigeria's own be that way? That's the question.
Right. Let's take a look at this. This is very interesting, people. This came out June 28th. Zamfara admitted 35,000 Boko Haram.
Yes.
And shortly after they admitted 35,000 Boko Haram, they're calling on people to defend themselves.
Yes.
Against bandits. Oh, wait. What are we talking about?
Excuse me. But they're the ones who got these 30,000 by Boko Haram. Now you said they should go and defend themselves against 35 Boko Haram that are heavily armed to the teeth.
Yeah, so now
what defense have they got?
I brought this up because of what Honorable was talking about. What is the logistics? Now, this is how you get a gun license. You can now get a gun license in Zamfara. As we get more and more and more Boko Haram being integrated. Thank you, Antonio Guterres, for allowing foreign terrorists into our country to be integrated. Now we're going to, in Zamfara, citizens can go and get guns. Here it is. It's happening, the Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
We are moving into the Wild Wild West, where the government is doing nothing to protect the people and colluding with the people. And this is here. At least Zamfara has put a process in place so you can get a gun. So all the other indigents in all the other alliance territories must tell the federal government, you cannot disarm us. Their governors must put these laws in place because the federal government has failed. They have failed to protect the people, and now it falls on the governors to protect their people. The federal government has given up its hands. The federal government is colluding with these people. We've heard it from the ICC. We've heard it from which is the International Criminal Court. We've heard it from Amnesty. We've heard it from Huruwe. Bernard Henri Levy. He said, I am holding Buhari personally responsible for the genocide of Christians in Nigeria. So we've seen this. Excuse me, this is real. This is actually happening. Welcome back, Paul. How are you?
You're muted, Paul.
I'm fine. Thank you.
You are welcome. So you can chime in about anything. We're going to get into the end of this, but right now we're talking about what citizens need to do, what indigenous Nigerians need to do, because there's a call for self-defense. And as Honorable said, you can't just say self-defense when the federal government is busy taking guns away from citizens while leaving it in the hands of bandits, kidnappers, Fulani herdsmen, and those from Mauritania, those from Ghana, Central African Republic, all these Fulanis, because all these people we're talking about are Fulanis. All these people that are carrying guns are Fulanis. So world, there is an invasion. There's an undeclared war going on in Nigeria against indigenes, against sovereign nations. And so we're calling on the United Nations to do its job. We're calling on the world leaders to stand for the sovereignty of the nations in Nigeria and to hold the unitary government of Nigeria accountable for hijacking the sovereignty and constitutions of these sovereign nations. Paul, over to you.
Yes, Jean, thank you. Sorry, I went off a little and they came back.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, we should work harder. I think there was a positive development recently when the Benue State governor came over here and he met some U.S. government officials at the State Department. I think there's a way we can liaise with him because he seems to be the only governor in the country, mainly, that is very active in this desire to defend his people from this invading Fulanis.
Absolutely.
So there's any way we can even let him know the information we have already and other efforts we are making, so that, because I'm sure he must have opened the channel. And now that he's going by next year, I'm sure he will want to be an advocate in pursuing this. That is one aspect. Then, if there's any way we can equally, like you said some time ago, we try to reach the UN and tell them that what Guterres what they told him when he came to Nigeria is completely false. That there are ongoing killings in the Middle Belt and southern part of Nigeria, even in the so-called Fulani territory, where the houses and the Christian areas are being disseminated. We should
absolutely
make that move.
Absolutely. And the news is not getting out, right? Because the government is clamping down on all those atrocities actually getting out. And which is why last year, when the United Nations revised their number from the Southeast from 35,000 to 350,000 people killed in the Northeast alone.
Yeah. It is recent. There was even a video I saw recently. There's a place they call Lopa. Lopa is along Enugu Omaya Express Road. There is a base there for the Fulanis where they settle their cattle, where they sell cattle. It's like a cattle selling area. So recently, the state government has come over to that place and destroyed the structures, houses of indigenes who run businesses there, leaving only the Fulani areas, claiming that those places are used by criminal gangs to run their criminal activities.
Exactly.
Yeah, so people are complaining about that and that. So the governors are mainly a problem in Nigeria. Governors of the indigenous areas, particularly the southeast and some parts of the Middle Belt, like the Plateau governor is not doing anything. He's a Christian. He's not doing anything about what is going on in his state.
Absolutely.
So the lawmakers, people can reach their lawmakers and tell them that people should wake up, particularly the federal lawmakers.
This is why we're calling on the people. This is why we're doing these programs. We're trying to get our people to rise up. They must hold their lawmakers accountable.
Yes, that's
must hold their lawmakers accountable. This is absolutely important to hold the lawmakers accountable. Because if we don't hold them accountable, then we become complicit. So again, there is election fever, but election is not INEC bulletproof. The Labor Union, the Labor Party is not election bulletproof. The results of the election is not 1999 Constitution bulletproof. What is bulletproof is our standing up for our freedom. That's what's bulletproof. And that's what's going to move the dial. So what we're talking about today is the fact that under cover of the 1999 of the 2023 elections and the cover of the 2023 elections, we have the Fulanization agenda continuing to strike. It is striking with Ruga. We saw where the federal government is building 119 ranches that Bala Mohammed said is going to be going to foreign Fulani, who they are gathering. He even said it. They are gathering all of them in Nigeria. And they're using Nigerian money that should go to the 100 million that are starving to settle them in Nigeria. That's Ruga, which was defeated, but the federal government is still going on with it. There's a water resources bill where the federal government now wants to take all the waterways. And we have UNIPA, we had Governor Autumn, we have other groups that have published and said this must be struck down, but we need to raise our people to demand that the governors, their senators, and their reps, the political elite must do their jobs. Then there's a secret state indigent that's going to make all those terrorists in your forest indigenous to your state and change the demographics of every single state in Nigeria. This is a plan. This is a Fulani conquest plan. All of this is about Fulanization, jihad, and colonization of Nigeria and other West African and African nations. But under the cover of the elections, Fulanization agenda continues to strike. Okay, so we're coming to the end of this week's presentation, and I am going to give a couple of you guys an opportunity to say your final words before we close. And please keep it very short because we've talked about most of this. And I want to thank everyone for the contributions. I want to thank you, Bolade, Ogaraku, Noah, Paul, to the contributions that you made to the discussions, because it's important for us to pull all of this together for our people, because when you hear all the information going around, you don't necessarily understand how it all fits together. And that's what we're trying to do. And I thank everyone for helping us to make that very effective. And again, just to know that this is Freedom from Nigeria. We are here every Saturday, 7 p.m. Nigeria time. Yeah. And we talk about the issues. So Noah, you can go ahead and make your 30-second concluding remarks and exhorting our people while you are under election fever. Buhari is about Fulanization, conquest, and colonization of your future and that of your children. And we need to make sure that they understand that and that they can do the things and must do the things they need to do to protect their freedoms. Go ahead, Noah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say thank you to everybody using their time and putting everything aside and making the country, Nigeria, and the importance of our freedom and helping the voiceless. So
voiceless and faceless.
I'm faceless. So we are doing a great job. We are really, really doing a great job. When was the last time United Nations come to the aid of anybody in Nigeria? 5 pages. They sanctioned the federal government of Nigeria on a penal code to immediately, effectively release Nnamdi Kanu. That is how much the international community voice has been heard, and we can do more. If we can be getting all this type of, the same thing happened with Showore from the Congress, you know, and we're just gonna say thank you to everybody, and we should just continue doing what we need to up our game.
We need to up our game because it's working, but we need to up our game.
It is working, yes. I am happy. I won't lie. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, getting results.
We're gonna be looking the next month or so. We're gonna see a lot more things happening because we've got a lot of things planned to really start moving this dial. So thank you,
Yeah,
Noah.
we do. You're welcome.
Ogorako, your final 30 seconds.
Yeah, again, my appreciation to everybody's time, energy, zeal, contributions. It costs, but it is worth it, I must say. I want to encourage us all to put in all we can do. Listen, in the world, in every environment you find yourself, it is about between 2 to 5% of people that changes the view, the mindset. A good number of people are followers, either because they are not prepared for a given idea, or they don't have the courage, or the environment doesn't permit them, whichever be the case. It takes a little to change the face of things. Don't think people are not listening. Wonderful people are listening, some silently, but it is making impact. In fact, it says when lies are repeated many times, it sounds like truth. However, at this point, we are not lying, we're saying the truth. That simply means the impact will be more. So please keep the light burning, and I thank you very much. Thank you again.
Awesome. Balade?
Yeah, let me start by quoting the great man himself, by any means necessary. Basically, if they're saying we, the people, can't bear arms, naturally, there are people that they know are already bearing the arms. I think we've all got to go to court and understand who is in the wrong over that to start off with. Because they told us you can't bear arms, but there are people that are killing us can bear arms. And we should now find ways to protect ourselves and protect our land and our families. Because these so-called Fulanis, who are, like you said, they are just an invasion force in our land, and they want our land no matter what. They have said that their grandfather, whoever he was, Usman Danfodio, had willed this land to them, a land which they never got onto. They never got halfway and conquered it. But they want to tell us, but between them and the British, they have stitched it all up and it is theirs. When actually, it is not theirs and can never be theirs. We have to fight to the end to make sure that they do not succeed in their evil plan.
Thank you very much. Again, thank you everyone for being a part of this. We are bringing information all the time to our people, bringing it all together so that they can see exactly what's going on and take the appropriate action. As you can see, the governors in the Middle Belt are now putting processes in place to arm their people, and we should not have gotten here. If a federal government spends $1 billion, more than $1 billion, in additional firepower to protect its people and is unable to do so, the United States government should not be approving an additional $1 billion, especially when the International Criminal Court has made it clear that it is these armed forces that are committing crimes against humanity, rising to the level of war crimes against its people. Even the UN has talked about the extrajudicial killings and provided the proof to the International Criminal Court and to the world about what the Nigerian armed forces are doing. This Nigerian armed forces that is led and controlled by a Fulani government, and these are migrants. These are migrants. And this is a message out to Antonio Guterres. It is unconscionable and egregious. And we are only assuming that you do not have the facts that these insurgents, as you're calling them, are not Nigerians. They're foreign terrorists that's been brought in under a federal plan called Ruga that was rejected by the National Assembly, but they are still carrying it forward. We have sent you the link to that video. If you listen to it, that will tell you exactly what's going on. Bernard Henri Levy, we have sent you that link. He's an independent, he's a French philanthropist that did the independent study showing that the Buhari government is complicit. We have sent you the video of T.Y. Danjuma, retired T.Y. Danjuma, who would know what's going on. And he's talking about government collusion with his terrorists. And we see it unfolding. The attack on the train, the attack at the airport, the attack at the prison, and all other attacks where the federal government armed forces are absent. And then when they arrive, they stop the indigents. We see the federal government disarming the people while allowing, they have not once issued a law saying that all these bandits and kidnappers must be disarmed, all these Fulani herdsmen. They're claiming that the Fulani herdsmen need the arms to protect the cows when the Fulani herdsmen are killing human beings. Human beings are being killed for cows. We're not talking about the Trojan horse anymore. These are the Trojan cows, the Nigerian cows. I'm sorry, the Fulani cows being brought in to overrun Nigeria and other African countries. Let's not forget that they took over Central African Republic. Let's not forget all the other countries where this is going on. The last thing that I'm going to say is this: herder-farmer conflict narratives is complicity. Anyone that uses that term is being highly disingenuous, and it is egregious. It is just egregious to continue to side with terrorists and criminals against lawful landowners. So thank you all again very much. We call on our people, get to your senators in mass, go in large numbers to your senators, your governors, your House of Rep. Tell them to shut down that water resources bill, shut down the state indigent bill. They must shut down Ruga and tell the federal government they cannot build 119 ranches for foreign terrorists in the Middle Belt when they are not protecting the people there. And then we also must tell them that the 1999 Constitution must be ended and that the nation's sovereignty must be restored. Thank you all again very much. And join us again at the same time every week to get all the information that we collect and bring to you. Thank you all again. And I am going to be ending the stream right now. Thank you very much.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi. I'm going to talk what you said. You couldn't get my number.